Everybody else gets rich when you're broke. But if you want to become wealthy yourself, you got to stop giving away all your money. What's up, everybody? I'm Jaspreet Singh from theMinorityMindset.com, where money minds rethink rich. Here's how the economy works. Here's you right here. I'm gonna draw you a nice mustache, or for our female followers right here, I'm gonna draw you a nice braid, or as we like to call it in my native language, Punjabi, a gut. So you go to work every single day, or you run a business, and you make money. Now, this money that you make makes you happy because now you got money to go out on vacations, you got money to eat, you got money to drive a nice car, but you have to understand how this system works. So now you start to make this money, and now you have three options with this money. You can go out and you can spend this money, you can invest this money, or you can save this money. When you go out and spend this money, you are supporting the system, you are supporting the economy, because every time you make $1 and you spend $1, well, now the restaurant owner makes some money, now the Walmart makes some money, now Amazon makes some money. It doesn't put any money back in your pocket because you're just buying liabilities. You're buying things. You're buying things that make you look rich, that make you look cool, but they don't actually put any money in your pocket. So every time you go out and you buy a pair of shoes, or you go out and you buy a purse, or you go out and you buy yourself a brand new car, these things look nice, but they don't put any money in your pocket. This is what the majority of people do with their money. They make money and then they spend it, and then they wonder where all their money went. So you spend all your money, and when you spend money, you're making everybody else around you rich. But if you want to become wealthy, you got to stop spending money here, and you got to start spending more money here and here, because these are the things that are going to make you wealthy. No, these things are not going to help the economy thrive immediately. Yes, when you have more wealth, you have more money to spend, you have more things that you can do to grow the economy. But what the system wants, what the whole economy wants, is they want you to do this. Our economy breeds a spending culture and a debt culture, because if our system can keep you here, can keep you spending all of your money, and can keep you in debt so you can spend all your money in other businesses, well, now they're getting rich at your expense, because now you have no money left over to do anything else. And what you're doing now is you're constantly going out and spending money, you're constantly paying back your bank, you're constantly going out and shopping, which is making everybody else around you rich, but it's keeping you broke. See, the issue that most people have in America when it comes to money is most people follow I gotta get a new marker, net zero thinking. What net zero thinking is I got $1,000 in the bank, which means I gotta go out and spend $1,000. Anytime people see cash in the bank, they feel like they need to spend this money because they don't know what else to do with this money. And so people assume that if they have money in the bank, they gotta go out and spend it. I used to think the same thing. When I was in high school, anytime I had a little bit of extra money, I went out and I did some modifications on my car. First, I put some brand new tints on my windows, then I upgraded my headlights, I put in some HID headlights, then I put in a subwoofer in the trunk, then I did all these other things, and then when I had a couple thousand or maybe $3,000 in the bank, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on butterfly doors on my car, my Toyota. I was gonna take my car, which opened normally like this, and I was gonna take my Toyota and I was gonna put on these butterfly doors so the doors would open like this. They would open up like a Lamborghini door. When I told my cousin that I was gonna do that, he told me,
Jaspreet, you're an idiot. Don't do that.
I'm very glad I didn't do that, because it would have been very interesting driving around in my Toyota Solara with butterfly doors. But this is how most people think. We think that if I have money in the bank, I got money to blow, because if I have $1,000 in the bank, I should go out and I should go shopping. I should go out and I should go on a nice dinner. I should go out on a vacation because I have money to blow. What else am I gonna do with this money? But this is where you have to make a decision for yourself. Do you want to be the person that's making everybody else rich? Or do you want to be the person that's making yourself rich and that's making your family rich for generations into the future? Look, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with spending money. There's nothing wrong with buying nice things. There's nothing wrong with buying expensive things. The issue that I have is when you are spending all of your money here to buy nice things and expensive things and fancy things, when you have no money here. When you have no investments, you have no savings. See, I want you to be able to have all the nice things you want. I want you to drive a luxury car. I want you to have a fat home. I want you to have nice vacations, but I want you to be able to afford them first. And the way that you can afford them first is if you first start putting your money towards your investments and your savings. Your savings are not going to make you wealthy, okay? When I say savings, I mean just having money in the bank. That way, if you run into a financial emergency, you have cash that you can fall back on. But your investments are really what are going to make you wealthy. Because the thing that you have to understand is that if your income is solely reliant on your salary, anytime you make money, you feel like you have to spend it, you are never going to have the opportunity to become rich. you will never be able to become wealthy, because as soon as you stop working, well, now your income is going to stop, and how are you going to afford your rent? How are you going to afford your food? How are you going to afford your vacations, because now you have no income? This is where if you want to become wealthy, you have to stop spending all of your money and you have to start using your money here, because what your investments do is your investments work to put more money in your pocket. What your investments are is these right here are assets. Assets are things that you buy for the sole purpose of making money. The spending money that you're doing here, these are your clothes, your cars, your shoes. These are liabilities. What liabilities are things that eat your money. These are things that take money away from you. Now, again, you want to have these liabilities, but before you start spending all your money on liabilities, you want to put more emphasis here on your assets. That way you can use your assets to pay for your liabilities. If your assets, your investments are paying for your liabilities, now you're wealthy. You're financially free, because now you can do whatever you want. You can work because you choose to work, not because you need to work. Now, while this concept might seem simple, implementing it isn't always so easy, because for one, none of us are ever taught this. I mean, there's a reason why society and the system doesn't want you to know this, because if you knew this, well, then Amazon wouldn't be making as much money, Walmart wouldn't be making as much money, Lululemon wouldn't be making as much money, Apple wouldn't be making as much money, because now people are gonna say, wait, I only have $1,000 in my pocket, so I can't go out and afford $1,000 phone, because if you really want to be able to afford something, you can't spend all the money that you have. You have to know how to actually afford something. I'll talk about that in just a second. And so if everybody knew how to manage their money the right way, then some companies wouldn't be making as much money. So sad. Now, the thing that I want you to decide is to figure out which side of the coin do you want to be on. Do you want to be on the side of the coin that is funding Amazon and Apple and Lululemon's wallets, or do you want to be on the side that is funding your wallet? Once you fund your wallet, then hey, go out and spend as much money as you want at Apple and Amazon and Lululemon, whatever other clothes you want. Spend as much money as you want, because now you can afford it. If you can afford your expenses, then go out and spend as much money as you want, because now you have earned the right to afford that luxury. But the issue that a lot of people have is they don't want to wait until they can afford that luxury. They just want to go out and have it now, because, well, they feel like they deserve it. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into how to actually invest your money into assets in this video and how to build wealth and do all of that. If you want to learn more about that, we already have a free guide on money management and investing that you can read for free that will walk you through how to manage your money and invest your money to build wealth. If you want to read that guide, it's free when you sign up for our daily newsletter, and I got the link to how you can read that guide in the description below. The easiest way to know if you can afford something or not when it comes to things that are not life necessities is just to follow my rule of 5, which says if you cannot buy 5 of them, you cannot afford 1 of them. Now, when you walk into the Apple store, what most people do is they say, well, I don't need $1,000 to buy a $1,000 phone, because I can just finance it. 0% APR, no big deal. I'll just pay the monthly payments. All I need is $50 a month. What I want you to do from now on is not think like that. If you want to buy anything, no more financing, even at 0% APR. I'll talk about that in just a second, but you're not going to be financing things from now on if you want to become wealthy, because now you're going to buy these liabilities with cash, and you don't want to be financing these things. So when it comes to liabilities, you want to buy them with cash and then follow our rule of 5. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, wait, Jaspreet, you're telling me that if I want to buy a $1,000 phone, I need $5,000? Are you crazy? Yes, very. Now, all of a sudden, what you're going to realize is you've been spending your money on a lot of things that you cannot afford yet. Now, all of a sudden, what you've done is you put some extra money in your pocket, which now you can allocate here into things that are gonna make you wealthy, not just things that are gonna make other companies wealthy. The second thing you gotta understand now that you're gonna be buying things with cash is you don't wanna be just financing things, because financing is the #1 reason why the majority of people will never have the opportunity to build wealth, because anytime you make money, your money is going out to pay for all the past things that you couldn't afford. When you finance anything, you're using debt. And debt is using tomorrow's income to pay for something today. Now, this can be a good thing if you're using debt to buy something that's putting money in your pocket, but I'm not talking about that. If you're using debt to buy something that's not making you any money, like your clothes or your shoes or your iPhone, now what you're doing is you're using debt to buy things which are losing your money. You're using tomorrow's income to pay for something today that's going to be losing your money for who knows how long. This is where everybody makes the argument that, wait, Jaspreet, what about 0% APR? 0% APR doesn't charge me any interest, so now instead of me paying $1,000 today, I can pay $50 a month and keep the extra money in my pocket and invest it into assets, which is going to make me wealthy. What's wrong with that? See, the thing about that is, in theory, it makes sense. difference. But in reality, what ends up happening is nobody actually invests that difference. What people end up doing is they realize, okay, I got an extra $950 in my pocket because now instead of me paying $1,000 for this phone, I only paid $50, and now I'm just going to be making monthly installments of $50 for the rest of my life, because as soon as I start to pay off this phone, or maybe even sooner than that, I'm just going to go and upgrade my monthly payments too. But what happens for so many people is now you have this extra money in your pocket, and now you think that you're richer than you actually are, because you haven't actually spent this money. You haven't felt the pain of this $1,000 leaving your account yet. So now you go out and you buy yourself a nicer computer because you have some money in your pocket, and instead of actually paying for this computer, you just finance it. And now you go out and you buy yourself a nicer TV, and you buy some nicer furniture, and you finance that too. Now all of a sudden you're playing the payments game, where instead of actually paying and owning the stuff that you have, you're just making monthly installments on it. So anytime you get paid, you're paying off all the stuff that you own. And what happens for so many people, and the reason why 0% APR is so profitable for companies and banks, is because they understand that when you buy something with 0% APR, you are much more likely to buy more than you can afford. And then when that 0% APR trial period hits, what happens? Oh, you didn't realize how many expenses you had, and now you can't pay it off in time, and now you get slapped with a 25% APR payment. If you want to become wealthy, the very first thing you gotta do is you gotta stop giving away all your money. That way you have more money to put here. Once you can understand how to use your money the right way, this is where earning more money will help, because you cannot out-earn bad spending habits. Once you know how to manage your money and spend your money the right way, this is where earning more money has the most value, because now you understand how to use this more money that you have. Now you'll understand how to use this money to build your wealth faster, and you'll understand how much money you can actually spend. Remember, the goal isn't just to live small for the rest of your life. I want you to have a growth mindset, but in order for you to get there, you have to know how to spend the money that you have. If you enjoyed this video, here's a video on how wealthy people spend their money that I think you'll love, and while you're at it, download a free money management PDF, and as always, keep hustling. The last thing you want is for you to be the breadwinner for your family, and then you're no longer there, and your family cannot survive anymore without you, so they have to put up a GoFundMe page to raise money to pay for your funeral costs and to pay for your basic living costs.